And a very warm welcome to the post show at the Ballito Pro presented by O'Neill 2023. We've got two brand new champions at this iconic event on the beautiful Quadakuza coast of South Africa. We're going to talk you through the big talking points from the final stage on the tough call events. Kai Linda, Mike Frew, and breathe, guys. That was a tense final.
Wow, from the sort of high performance of Bronte in the ladies final to just a real nail biter in the men's. But the wave came in the last 20 odd seconds, and Cole just living up to the form we've seen from him all event.
Mike, in terms of our champions, pretty worthy recipients of the trophy here. You look at what they were able to do in the final, but also just looking back throughout the rounds, big performances from that pair, and the Goofies going away with the silverware.
Absolutely. Bronte bringing the experience and her form and her championship tour pedigree through. Cole, the energy of youth bursting through to take the win.
Well, and I've got to say, if there's any chance of an injury or anything for Jeffreys Bay, please let's put that big beastie from California in there. Can you imagine that backhand unleashed on the world's best right-hand point?
All right, well, let's remind ourselves exactly on the part of the final here and how it all worked out for Cole Houshmand, who had tough heats to surf throughout the bracket here. That's what it's like on the Challenger Series, particularly towards finals day. And you look back to the quarters and what he was able to do, taking on Cowley Vast. And that one was an actual heat where he was struggling there. It was one of the rare times we've seen it until the final really managed to get that done. Made unbelievably short work of Joanne Duru, and then through to the final. Meanwhile, Fred Morais coming up against Cade, who looked like he was blazing yesterday. But Fred got himself into the final. It was always going to be a tough one. And for most of it, he looked like he was going all right in that final, Fred. I mean, that drama that came through at the end of it. Whenever we do have low-scoring affairs, let's take a look and see exactly what went down. But it remained close and nail-biting. A lot of it hinged on an exchange that came through at the midway point. Let's just remind ourselves how this final was. Fred looked steely focused as he changed up the equipment and went into this one. Cole drawing first blood with this number.
Yeah, and pretty much sticking to the game plan that's been working for him, which is hyper-aggressive backhand surfing right up in the lip line with loads of speed and power. Freddie, though, really came to the party with this one. Great first turn, then just schralping through that massive carve in the heavy section and finishing strong. He won the exchange, and then in the dying seconds, this one came through for Cole, and just again that big fin release on the backhand. He does it so well, getting the three-turn combo, getting a 4-6-4, just scraping in on the requirement, but enough to win it. And I've got to say, my heart bleeds a little bit for Fred because he got the next wave, but just behind the hooter. If the score had come for Fred's wave, we could have been looking at a different winner.
Yeah, results in here, so not a high scoring final, but it pretty much says it all, Mike. Each surfer with a solid score, and it's all about the backups. It was so close. We talk about those small margins in elite level sport. It's all about making those small margins go to your favor. And ultimately, a question asked of Cole, and he answered it, got the job done.
He kept his head up high, he kept his shoulders up, and he never said die until the last 25 seconds. So such a good illustration for any youngsters. You know, how do you approach a heat? Never give up the last 25 seconds of the whole event, and he gets the scoring wave.
Yeah, of course, Kai, going back to back is Cole, and it's amazing to see in surfing at this level, any level, particularly at the elite level, we see surfers get on a bit of a roll, a bit of a tear. Something all comes together for him, able to get the favor of the panel of the judges as well for their surfing, but all those other factors, equipment, just the way they're training, preparing. Cole Houshmand will want the US Open. It couldn't come around quick enough for him. He'd be happy if the event was next week.
Yeah, US Open at home in front of friends and family, the San Clemente crew. I mean, a big part of his success this year has been the fact that they're traveling in that big crew. You know, you've got brother who's almost like Uncle Kaloha now with these youngsters, and they really have just been pushing that vibe and supporting him, and the results are showing. So imagine he can go for the triple. I don't know if anyone's done the triple in the Challenger before.
And we're obviously here trying to send surfers to the Championship Tour. And in the past, often we've had a bit of a gulf in terms of the quality of venues, but in terms of the wave we've had here at Ballito, also in Australia on the Championship, on the Challenger Series already this year, we've had some great waves, and surfers like Cole Houshmand with the power, you'd be backing him to go pretty well as a rookie should he get there on the championship tour.
Absolutely. He's shown what he can do in the smaller stuff as well as the bigger stuff. And I'm just so stoked we've got to also showcase Ballito and the quality waves that are on offer here. We saw on one of Travis's calls this event, he was saying that one day in particular was the best waves we've had on the Challenger Series this year, which is great for Ballito.
Speaking of quality, let's remind ourselves how it went down to finals day. I set up the bracket, and surfers putting their hand up really with big performances. That's what it took to get here, to come back for finals day. We just had the semis and the finals to run today, and just checking how this stood up. Bronte Macaulay's part of the final. Alyssa Spence has been blazing on this tour. Isabella Nichols as well, recently back from the Challenger Series. Vahine, on the other hand, got past Sally in the quarters. That happened yesterday, and then Charlie Kelly. That was a tough heat today. So this one matched up really well between these two. But we talked about the consistency of Bronte Macaulay, Kai, and that's what she showed us throughout.
Well, to be honest, for me, from round one, I had a little tick up against Bronte's name. She just looked so good every heat, putting on probably some of the highest heat totals all the way through the event. She just really seems to have found her stride again, her confidence. And I mean, I couldn't be more happy for her either, because she's one of the nicest girls on tour.
I think after one of the softest starts to the year that she's had, she's certainly going. Here's some highlights from the final. Vahine got this wave and set the bar nicely, and Bronte just came back with some solid power. The surfer from Western Australia just attacking the lip and really just locked in those scores. Vahine, this was the one where it was the biggest set wave, obviously, of both of the finals, but she didn't really find a rhythm here and wasn't able to capitalize on a good finish and just digging the nose in, and perhaps the final just rolling away from her right there. Bronte up and riding, and I love that turn. For me, that was the women's turn of the event.
And what a crucial time for it to come as well, Kai.
Yeah, I think the moment for me there was the flash of the Bell family, the Vahine States were just losing their minds. That's the nice thing about Ballito, is that you have that real camaraderie here with all the surfers and the locals.
Official results from the final. What a way to do it for Bronte Macaulay. That's a massive total. 817 and a 7.5. Huge numbers. It was going to take something really quite monumental to come back at that from Vahine. Fierro unable to do it, but nevertheless going all the way for a final and a second place here. Should be stoked with that. Right now, it's time for our awards presentation at the Ballito Pro. Let's send it down to Gig Silius.
Surf League's Challenger Series. It's a good afternoon and welcome to the presentation and prize giving. And all of you around this beautiful region of KwaZulu-Natal that have made your way down to the beach, we'll start off with a huge round of applause for everybody that's down here. What a day we've had. Another amazing edition, the 54th edition of the Ballito Pro. And it has just been a wonderful stop for many of the world's best men's and women's surfers making the journey here to South Africa. Of course, 2 stops prior to this, and now here in South Africa, the Challenger Series is proving so much value and, of course, valuable points for our surfers as they try to qualify for the year-end championship tour level. Of course, none of this happens without a lot of support and a lot of thanks to give out. So, of course, it goes without saying, the KwaDukuza municipality setting the standard for the country. Every year we come back here, we absolutely love it. And they are our title sponsors, of course, along with the surf brand O'Neill. Tomorrow, Jack O'Neill Day as well. So what a celebration here of everything in Ballito and, of course, around the world. A lot of thanks always to our friends and partners, Monster Energy. Of course, to the crew at SMG Yamaha for the official vehicles and the Water Safety Patrol. Coca-Cola. And, of course, to so many others that have made all the moving parts just fall together for an amazing edition of the Ballito Pro here in South Africa. Of course, to the councillors, to the community, and of course to all the working teams, the WSL's judges, and everybody else, what an amazing event. This has also been a festival, nearly 12 days of action here. We saw the O'Neill Smith's Rookie Rippers take place, a lot of build up to this Challenger Series event, and the surf is pumped. The festivities, the carnival in and around Ballito has made it the #1 place to be in South Africa for this time of year, and of course just everything around the event itself. Folks, of course, the theme this year from O'Neill, everything is blue, konke kuluhlaza, means that we have an environmental consciousness, and of course we'll ask that every one of you, as you enjoy this beautiful place and of course this beach lifestyle, and wherever you go in the days to come, just be aware of our planet and of course the responsibility of keeping our oceans clean. We cannot thank everybody enough, and of course the local community that have given up the waves, the Elembe surf riders, and to all you Ballito locals, once again a huge thank you. We'd like to present some flowers to the mayor of this beautiful town, Lindy Nyaka. We've got a special gift for you. Thank you very much for joining us. We know your diary is busy, but certainly everybody here, and on behalf of the World Surf League and Surfing South Africa, we'd just like to present you with this beautiful bouquet. And of course, so much work behind the scenes. We'd like to call up Colette Bundy to the stage. The amount of work that this person does is just beyond immeasurable. She has herself made this event one of the prides of world surfing. And Colette, on behalf again of Surfing South Africa, just a massive thank you for everything you do for the Ballito Pro and this community in general. Thank you so much, ladies. Wonderful. Of course, up here with me, Paul Canning from O'Neill, Tasha Mentasti from WSL Africa, and Tours and Competitions, Travis Logie, as we'll segue our focus now to getting our surfers and our finalists up here. We are asking that the runner-up in the men's division, Frederico Morais, if he can join us up here on stage for a few words, and of course to collect those 7,800 points on the Challenger Series. Frederico, your runner-up this year, folks. $10,000, do the math, that's about 180 grand in our money. And of course, a big step in the right direction towards a top 10 end of the year finish. Let's get a few words from Frederico on his way to a runner-up position here in Ballito.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having us. This is a beautiful place. We love it here. It's an event that's been on for years and years. You guys never gave up on us. So yeah, thank you so much for that. I've always had great results here in South Africa, J-Bay, here, Ballito. So yeah, super stoked. Obviously, we all want to win, but important points to the end goal, which is be back on tour. And well, this was a big step.
Ladies and gentlemen, your runner-up at the Ballito Pro Men's Division, Frederico Morais from Portugal. Calling up our runner-up in the ladies' final, brilliant surfing all through the event, Vahine Fierro from Tahiti. Welcome to the stage. And of course, how amazing are these trophies as well. Of course, Iwe from Oakley to add to the points. And as we mentioned, 7,800 points is a big step in the right direction for both of these runner-ups to qualify. Vahine, let's get a few thoughts from you quickly. Great surfing all the way through the week. You're also a qualified Olympian. It's got to feel good to be you.
Yes, thank you so much to the community here in Ballito. It always feels like home when I come here, so thank you, like the kids, like with the signing, and it's so much good energy. So it was a great week. The waves were so fun. It was nice to like be able to show our surfing in good waves, and yeah, stoked.
Ladies and gentlemen, your runner-up, Vahine Fierro from Tahiti. Remember these names, folks. And now let's get to our winners. Ladies and gentlemen, a massive charge to the finishing line. a second win on the World Surf League's Challenger Series. San Clemente, California's Cole Houshmand is your champion of the Ballito Pro. Well, that is a big trophy. Luckily, these two men are big humans. And let's get a couple of thoughts from Cole Houshmand. Cole, you left that one to the finish line.
Yeah, that was super stressful. Going into the final, you never expect it to be super low scoring heat, and Freddie's been ripping all events, so I thought I was going to need like 15, 16 points to win, but a bit unfortunate. It was slow, but just worked out in the end. Got the wave with like 30 seconds left, so I'm super stoked.
And of course, back-to-back wins as well. You'll be sitting right at the top of the story on your way back home to California for the US Open.
Yeah, I was just going into this event hoping to back it up with a few heats, but I had a few smart heats and played it well, and yeah, super stoked. It's been unreal here in South Africa, and super stoked to back it up with a win. So,
ladies and gentlemen, your champion of the Ballito Pro, Cole Houshmand from San Clemente, California. Some of the biggest points as well, ladies and gentlemen, on the way to the win. And now let's make some huge noise for, from Western Australia, Bronte Macaulay, your ladies champion of the Ballito Pro for 2023. Oh, it smiles all round. Bronte, let's get a few thoughts from you. Beautiful trophy, and what a beautiful day to celebrate here in Ballito.
Yeah, it's been a really great trip. Really love this place. So yeah, just to get to win was a bonus, and yeah, thanks for having us. And yeah, I'm stoked.
I literally called you.
And of course, over to California now. How are your thoughts? This is momentum for you now to capitalize on.
Yeah, it's good not to lose straight away like the first two. So yeah, really excited for the rest of the year and to get to Huntington and try to make a few more heats.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for your champions of the Ballito Pro. Bronte Macaulay from Western Australia, Cole Houshmand from San Clemente, California. And it is celebrations down here at the beach. It's been wonderful to have each and every one of you here. And as we pop the champagne, we'll send it back to the booth and to you boys. Thank you very much.
All right, great stuff there. So two freshly minted champions in the form of Bronte Macaulay, the Western Australian. Delighted with her win that big trophy as well, which will sit quite nicely on the mantelpiece or the trophy room. Also, Cole Houshmand, who's gone back-to-back on the Challenger Series. Of course, the reason we're on the Challengers, well, it's all about those ratings and getting yourself in a position to qualify for the Championship Tour. And we'll update those ratings for you and see exactly where we are. But we're on the midpoint of the season right now. 3 more events to go, of course. 4 results counting. And pretty crucial with a big points here and big momentum going into the back half of the season.
Yeah, I think the big one being Cole could probably take off the rest of the season if he really wanted to. I know he won't because he's a competitor. But in the ladies, look at that big jump up for Bronte up into 5th. That is the last qualifying position for the ladies. But so she will definitely be going to the US Open to try and get another score.
Yeah, significant moves being made here by the likes of Zali Kelly as well, getting herself in the top 10. Vahine Fierro up there in 4th, Mike. That'll be crucial. Isabella Nichols, top spot, solid result here. Equal 3rd with the semi-final finish and looking good at the top of the ratings.
Yeah, almost 7,000 points separating number 1 to number 5 there. So you got to feel Isabella Nichols and Sally Fitzgibbons are going to be very confident going into those next 3 events. And it's great to see such a huge jump there for Vahine and Bronte.
The Australians dominant in the top 5. 4 of those 5 names for the women coming from Australia. Let's check out the men. No real surprises. He's won 2 events. Cole Houshmand sitting at the top there. So taking that top spot from Jacob Wilcox. Fred Morais making a major jump up into 3rd.
Yeah, and Cole sitting pretty, 20,700 points, only halfway through the season, so he's pretty much booked his ticket. Jacob Wilcox will be feeling pretty confident that he's heading to the World Tour as well, but also look at the big jump for Frederico, up into third, 14,000 points. He's looking good. He needs one more result, and he's pretty much booked his ticket back. Cade Matson, big jump to fifth, and then also Johan Duru, still sitting in 8th place there. He's still in the mix.
Yeah, Cole Houshmand and Jacob Wilcox, they've bolted off the start line already around the first corner there. But if you look at the points in the bottom 5 there, a quarterfinal, semi, or a final finish there could really shake up those couple of positions there. 8,000 for Marco Mignot. You'd have to think he's not safe by any means in that position at this stage.
Yeah, certainly he'll be someone looking to go deep into the US Open and obviously heading up into Europe for the Challenger Series in Portugal before we head to Brazil. So that's what's in store on the Challenger Series. We've also got a pretty good event coming up on the Championship Tour. We're going to stay here in South Africa and we're going to head down to Jeffreys Bay. So our stop number 9 of 10, just 2 to go on the Championship Tour. It will kick off real soon next week. But right now, let's cast our mind back to last year, and it was just unbelievable conditions. And this was a pairing that we'd sort of felt about for a long time, and that romance very much consummated with the win for Ethan Ewing at Jeffreys Bay last year.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time before Ethan got a result at Super Tubes. The wave is literally designed for his surfing, and he's going to be very difficult to beat this year too.
What are we expecting from Ethan, but also from the rest of the CT? They'll be looking forward to that event, a chance to open up on the point break, and a crucial stage in the season in terms of getting in top 5, which final 5 coming up real soon. Let's think about the women as well and what went down last year at J Bay, and with those pumping waves on offer, it was the power surfers that came to the fore, and no one did it better than Tatjana Weston-Webb, who went mad.
Yeah, she certainly did. She dominated. This event had the best waves that J-Bay has had since possibly 1984 for a final of this nature. It was a packed beach. They wrapped the event up very quick, and Tatiana absolutely dominating out there, and it was fantastic. It was the first goofy foot win on the ladies for a long time.
All right, cannot wait for all that to kick off. That's happening on 13th of July. We'll begin the waiting period. That's Wednesday next week. So a few days between now and that event. There's plenty of swell in the water as well. Looking forward to that. Let's cast our mind back to big 5 moments from this competition. It's been a real fun week of surfing in Ballito. And once again, the waves certainly haven't let us down. Let's go back and look throughout the event at really big standout performances. It's all about getting up the ratings, but also making a bit of a statement here, guys, and showing what you could do in quality conditions. And sometimes it's all about doing it on the buzzer. Vahine Fierro, moment number 5, buzzer beater for her.
Yeah, so Vahine, quarterfinal number 1. This was one of her waves yesterday. We heard the crowd erupt, and that's what got her through into the semis and finally into the final there.
Well, I love this one. Joel Vaughan looking for a score earlier in the rounds, and just a massive backhand air rotation. Just absolutely good. And one of my highlights, of course, was the fact that when he was interviewed afterwards, how did you get that air done? He was like, I don't know, my eyes were closed.
This next one is my favorite wave of the event. The perfect 10, the only perfect 10 of the event. Jacob Wilcox in the round of 16 came out of that lovely tube to hit the lip as well. He claimed it, and this, look at how technical he was on his backhand there. He had to get a high line to get out of that barrel, and also showcasing Ballito at the same time, and some of the best waves you saw of the event in that particular heat.
Well, and then this guy, the big man, just look at the size of those upper legs. No wonder he displaces the ocean every time he does a turn. And he's just been a methodical machine throughout this event on the backhand, unleashing the tail everywhere he goes. Loads of power, just really pushes water out the back of the wave, and it's got to impress the judges when you see that much spray coming out the back of the board.
Such a power unit, and it was so cool to see how he was cheered up the beach by his fellow housemate from St. Clemente.
And then Bronte, for me, the standout surfer of the event. Maybe a lot of people thinking Cole would have taken that title, but I think if you look at performances and you look at the sort of consistency of scores and surfing, Bronte just dropping big scores, big combos throughout the event, and a well-deserved ladies champion.
Well, it's been an incredible event to call, absolutely drenched in surf throughout the week here. We've been blessed in what's been a brilliant edition of the Ballito Pro presented by O'Neill. Guys, just a quick final thought from you on how this week's gone down in Ballito.
Absolutely stoked. The waves have been good, the beach has been packed, and the surfing has been incredible. Real championship tour level surfing in the Challenger Series.
It lived up to expectations, and I was so stoked to see Cole Houshmand take the win for the Goofy Footers and see all the young, new energy in the Challenger Series, all those juniors bursting through.
Well, professional surfing might put the board shorts away, maybe reach for the beanie and something of a warm coat. We're heading down to the Eastern Cape for the Corona Open J-Bay. That's kicking off on the 13th of July, Wednesday next week. We look forward to seeing you there.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.